Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33 teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning everyone. It is the 8th of July and I'm not in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm actually in India at the moment, so you're going to have to bear with the sound because there's pretty much nowhere you can go without any noise in the background. But I thought, you know what, I always tell you, you're just going to get me real. You're not going to get me in the way. I don't dress up for recording the Monday mantras. I am just literally wearing what I'm wearing and talking to you as a debrief of our lesson. So welcome to India with me, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. But if you are listening to this on the Beacon app, on YouTube, on Spotify, all the places, you know that I do my best, very best to keep this going for you and creating new resources and all of that. And your subscriptions and your support and you telling people really helps me, because I funded this all by myself and I don't make any money from it yet, and this is why your subscriptions go into creating a platform that is going to be supportive for everyone of every affordability, because this is why I keep it at such an affordable rate, because I want all of you to be able to access me and healing and mental health support and all the good things. So yeah, thank you for sharing and letting people know that this platform exists. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a different Monday mantra because obviously I'm not at home, it's not quiet, I'm not in that headspace of that I'm normally in, but it's the part of the disruption energy, which is really cool. So I am in India, and this was not a planned trip. This was something that, and people will be like, how could you not plan going to India all the way from New Zealand? It literally was not a planned trip. It was something that happened and I was guided to go only like a couple of weeks ago. And I'm part of a tour that I didn't organize, that I had no idea what was going to be happening. All I knew was to show up here and I would be taken to places that I'd never been before. So that was the thing that drew me in. And the biggest thing was the Golden Temple. So I'm going to talk a little bit differently about this because this is the way it's going to go this week. But it all relates to the Monday mantra. So I'm going to do a recap as I usually do. Now, what we do here when I talk to you, it's like I'm literally debriefing the weeks before as chapters, and they all intertwine with each other because every chapter is a segue into the next one, a next transition. So it's not like when one Monday mantra is over, the next one just begins. They merge and move together. So this is why it's good to go back and reread and re-listen to really pay attention as to what is going on in our lives. And last week I set the Monday mantra as disruption comes in to put me back on my path. Disruption comes in to put me back on my path. And I knew that I was going to be traveling, but I didn't know what surprises were going to unfold for me. And I got on my flight, and I always ask Spirit to take care of the flight. I actually visualize everyone in the plane with light, and I visualize and ask Archangel Michael to come in and, make sure that the plane gets to where we're going safely and all of that. And I ask for signs, right? So the biggest disruption was me being the disciplined person that I am and as routine as I am. I was getting on a plane and showing up in India where I've been a few times before, but not to these areas, not to these states that I've been traveling to. So I literally was like fly by the seat of my pants kind of situation. I packed really light, which is unlike me. And so then I just was able to get here and find out what needed to happen. So part of the energy last week with being a disruptor is I talked about it in the business world, where it's someone who focuses on the solutions rather than the problems. And I have encountered a lot of different things going on in the last week, but what it came back to as being a disruptor is that I knew that I needed to create a disruption in my own life by doing something that was very spontaneous for such a big trip, to be able to find solutions in other areas of my life. And as we set those sights higher, the route that may be the real cause of extracting the essence of life. Honestly, when I look back at this and what I've experienced in the last week, so I'm going to say that again, sorry, I'm a bit distracted because there's lots of people walking around. As we set our sights higher, the route of that, so the root of why we set our sights higher, may be because we want to really extract the essence of life. Now, I wrote this before, through spirit guidance, before I knew what was going to happen for me this last week. We think that following a passion is achieving something, but and achieving something that's, a big thing. And it's a passion is, not a simplicity of life, but actually simplicity is a passion. Simplicity is following the natural adventures, which is what I've gone and done. What would your life look like if you saw yourself as someone who could achieve anything? What is stopping you or in the way of your peace? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first part first. The natural adventures of life. Okay, now I know that all of us are in different circumstances, and I was fortunate enough to be able to just show up in India and tag along on a trip that was already organized by other people. The signs. Okay, so I got on the plane and I went to sleep first and then about 4 hours before the flight was going to land, I decided to watch a movie because I had woken up. And so I clicked on a movie without knowing what it was about. I just saw the words, and it was called Touch the Water. And it ended up being about a Native American indigenous woman who was 81 years old, who was living alone. She felt abandoned by her family, and she was going every day by a shuttle to where mature people were going to do things and spend time together. And the whole movie was about having dreams at all ages, and her dream was to touch the water. It actually makes me want to cry talking about this. Her dream was to touch the water because when she was a child, her parents took her to the ocean and she was too scared to touch the water, so they kept cutting back to when she was a 6-year-old child. And now she lived somewhere else that wasn't near the water, and it was going to take great effort to get to the ocean, and that meant someone to drive her. And because she felt neglected and that nobody was helping her, it really was something to achieve. And for us who are maybe more able-bodied and are able to move around and do things, she figured out a way to go and touch the water. So the movie was so simple, but it was the extract of what I'm talking about that basically she said, you always have to have a dream, and her dream was to touch the water. And so she learned how to swim and all of the things in this movie at 81 years old. And that's the simplicity of life's natural adventures. So about 3/4 of the way into watching that, I suddenly got a download. Now, when I'm anywhere out work, like just normal life, I'm not working, I'm not tuning into people, I'm not giving people messages, unless I'm really guided to, because I'm switched off, because I'm usually having to clear myself of everyone's stuff. And Spirit said to me, ask the girl in front of you what she's reading because she needs you. Now, when I have prompts like that, I don't even think. I just do it because that's the nature of my work. If I thought too much, I'd never say anything. And so I could see her black hair, and I tapped her on the shoulder. I hadn't seen her face for the whole trip because it was a night flight, got on the plane, went to sleep, didn't eat anything, And so I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, I know this sounds, something on the lines of, I know this sounds weird, but my spirit guides told me to ask you what you're reading because it's going to be something that I need to know to help you. Okay, I'm on a flight to Asia, okay? So, and also, what is the likelihood of someone sitting opposite me to be reading something that is so relevant to what I do? She was reading Dr. Brian Weiss. Now, in 2019, I actually flew to New York to meet Dr. Brian Weiss. Now, those of you who don't know who Dr. Brian Weiss, he was a psychologist. Let's get that right. Let's get his credentials right, because there's nothing worse than saying something about psychiatrists. So I take that back. Dr. Brian Weiss is a psychiatrist, hypnotherapist, and author who specializes in past life regression. So past life regression is not what I do. I do it naturally through my soul progression therapy, which is what I specialize in. But at that time in 2019, I wanted to go and learn about what he knew from doing it in a way that's more teachable and structured. Anyway, this girl was reading a book by him, and the title of the book is connected to this week's energy. So all of this was like literally really putting me in a bit of a like, oh, here we go, this is Spirit's way of helping me help you, because we're all in this together. And the book that she was reading is called Only Love is Real by Dr. Brian Weiss. And he wrote Many Lives, Many Masters, I believe. That's what it's called, or let's double check that. Many Lives, Many Masters. Yes, Many Lives, Many Masters. So that's all about past lives. Anyway, so I tapped her on the shoulder and we had a really good chat, and we both ended up in tears. So I could feel her energy coming into me, because what I triggered her to talk about was what she needed to talk about, and she just couldn't stop crying. So I knew that I was absorbing what she needed to let go of at that time, to come back to realizing that only love is real. I thought that was a beautiful thing. And there was a part that I could see from over her shoulder that she was reading, which was highlighted, and I actually took a picture of this. It's about being courageous to take risks, and she had highlighted that. And I couldn't read the rest of the words because that's all I needed to read. And that was actually before I tapped her on the shoulder. I saw that she was reading a book, and that's why I didn't know what it was, and that's why Spirit said to ask her what book who she's reading, because it's going to be related to you. So all of those messages are relevant, from the title of the book to that synchronicity, because it's all going to help us with this week's Monday mantra. So what would your life look like if you saw yourself as someone who could achieve anything? What is stopping you or in the way of your peace? In that movie, Touch the Water, it was all about she wanted to become independent again, but she knew that she was in a state of being dependent because of her age and her mobility. But she found people to support her, to take her to the water, teach her to dream, because it was a person that was a younger man in the place that she would go to, the community centre she would go to, that inspired her. Like, don't stop dreaming because you're 81. So don't stop dreaming. Take the risk, it's all part of this week's energy and what we're meant to be doing at the moment. So I got off the plane, and as you know, I've got a family illness at the moment, which is very, very difficult. I'll talk about that when I feel like talking about that, but right now I'm going to keep telling you all the exciting things that have been going on first. As we made that transition from June to July, we did have a new moon a few days ago, which I didn't feel like talking about last week. I wanted to talk about it this week because it was like on a Friday, and that energy is still here for beginning of this week. It wasn't so much an end to last week, it was the intention for this week. And so if any disruptions have come in which have seemed difficult, like for us it's the family illness, but there are pleasurable things going on as well, because I'm experiencing things that I've never experienced before with people I've never met before, and it's coming back to what is real. Realize your path, connecting to what is real. The name of that book that young lady was reading on the plane is all why Spirit put her there and told me to speak to her, because that's all what we need to hear right now, and what we need to remember. I've taken so many photos on my phone that I'm struggling to find all the things that I want to tell you about. So yes, only love is real. Realizing, that's why Spirit gave me that word, realizing your path, making it real by pulling away from the herd and being different, doing things differently in the way you want. In that movie Touch the Water, all her friends who are in that age group were telling her she was crazy. It's so difficult. She got out of the car and she started walking for miles when the car broke down, because she was so determined with her walker to get to the water. But she got there in the end, and she created that disruption for herself. When I got to India, I'm going to be looping in and out, and it might be a bit of a long Monday mantra, but whatever. When I got to India, I got in at like 9 o'clock at night. And it's really hot in India at the moment. It's summer. And 9 o'clock at night, it was 37 degrees at that time. And I was thinking, oh my God, like we're going to go to the Golden Temple in the morning, which is in Amritsar, which is in the state of Punjab here in India. And I was thinking, people were going, oh, it's going to be 43 degrees and whatever. So I went back to my hotel all, jet lagged and tired, and went to sleep. And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was really pelting down with rain. And I was thinking, oh, this is interesting. But I really was in the state of like, I'm just going to go with it, because whatever, rain or shine, I'm still going to go. Anyway, what it did, the rain, it was cooled things down completely. And I went to, so the guide, I have a tour guide. And the tour guide came and picked me up and took me to the Golden Temple, and started telling me the story about the Golden Temple. Now, those of you who listened to last week's Monday Mantra, nothing I say, even in sessions, nothing is random. It's given to me to give to you. Even when you listening to this, you're receiving a frequency of what I've been experiencing in my own life. And when we got there and he started talking to me about what Amritsar meant, the nectar of life, and in the Sikh community, they have a initiation ceremony, which is sugar water, which Sikhism is honey, and it is the nectar of immortality. And I then had the download on my spirit guides going, this is why we told you about honey, because we knew that you were called here and you were here to be able to take that energy from here and give it all to you, to all of you who are listening, all of you who are going to be seeing me after I've had this amazing upgrade here in India. So that really, it really took me in awe, actually, because I suddenly was talking to all of you and had that taste of honey in my mouth, and all the things that I said, go back and listen to it, is all what the man told me when I arrived at the Golden Temple. Okay, so we've talked about realizing, coming back to what is real, that book that the young lady was reading, coming back to Dr. Brian Weiss, who was brought past lives out to the medical community as something that is a big contributing factor to why people are holding on to certain things, and making your dreams real by creating the disruption or embracing the disruption, whatever is happening in the way that it needs to for us as individuals, but also collectively. Who we surround ourselves with is who we become. Now, I can tell, because I'm out of my home environment, that it's given me this new sense of who I am and my capabilities and how I am with different people. And it's been quite amazing, because I've kind of gone back thinking like, oh, I'm not thinking about this person anymore, and this person isn't affecting me anymore, and coming back to what I really want in terms of what company I'm keeping, and are the people around me motivating me, or is it dead weight that's holding me back or holding you back? So what happened for you last week when it came to realizing a dream, when it came to honey? And I know some of you have been discussing in the group chat, and that's what it's for. Keep discussing, because I do pop in there and read them. It's just sometimes I can't reply to everything. And please know, it's not because I don't want to. We get hundreds and hundreds of emails, and then there's also clients on top of that, and app stuff, and mini readings, and soul magics, and personalized meditations. And so there's a lot that I'm juggling. But you go and talk about it, and I loved hearing the honey references for you, because for me it was a huge download at that time, which gave me the solution to that, of why I received that download. Because I was thinking, this is a very bizarre thing to be saying at the last part of last week's Monday Mantra, but it came through. Keeping your dreams a secret. Now, this is something, even in that Touch the Water movie, she expressed her dreams, but she didn't tell her family, because she knew, because her family were like, oh, you're too old to do this, and you can't do this, and how are you going to get to California, and all of those things. Because it helped her create her vision board and all of that to keep going, keeping the fears or envy out for other people. The mini spiritual awakenings. Now, the Golden Temple experience was just beautiful. I'm not Sikh, but I don't care. I would go into any spiritual place, because for me everything is one, because only love is real, right? And the way the guide said, everyone is welcome here, whether you're a beggar, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are Hindu, whether you are Muslim. And I loved it. There's scriptures everywhere when you walk through that temple. And like the outskirts of the temple, which has the pool in the middle where it's the healing properties, that's the nectar, that's the water that people dip in to heal themselves of anything, medical issues, energetic things, spiritual things, whatever. And there's scriptures all over. And the one that I looked at referenced Archangel Michael, who lifted my plane to safety. And I was thinking, it's amazing to be in a Sikh temple where everyone is welcome, but to see that reference, and it was just beautiful. I just had those mini spiritual awakenings for me were occurring in a big way in the last week, giving me new perspectives. And this is where I'm giving you new perspectives as well, is that our priorities are beginning to change. Travel changes you, and I know it's not available to everybody for various reasons, but we don't actually need to go anywhere to travel. This is why meditation takes us to different astral planes, to different dimensions, to different realities, to be able to see things differently. And self-doubts are beginning to dissolve, because we can't just give up based on past experiences. We have to keep going. We need to trust ourselves. We need to trust that we can do things differently, that this is what our souls came here to do, is to do things differently, to serve people, to serve ourselves, to serve others, but also not succumbing to the needs of others, but contributing in a way that helps you too. That's something to remember for this week's energy as well. It's a win-win for all. So we're being asked to serve and not doubt ourselves. So for me, it's serving all of you. It's my job. It's my purpose. It's something that I did not choose. I was chosen to do this. I've just gone along for the natural adventure that unfolds. A lot of people, how do you do what you do? How did you get to this? I don't know. This is all being guided and given to me, and that's the beauty about this journey, is that when we actually do just surrender and go, I don't know what's going on, I'm just going to go with it, amazing things can happen. We're all being asked to serve in all our ways, regardless of where you are and who you are in life, whether you're 85 years old listening to this or whether you are 18 years old listening to this. And that mirror, for me, that mirror of my true soul purpose, of all these amazing synchronicities that I have been experiencing here in India, the honey thing, the Archangel Michael thing, the girl on the plane, the movie, the people I met here, and I'll tell you bit by bit as things come up naturally for me to talk about, are reflecting who you are and reflecting your priorities, which is prioritizing yourself and what you need to grow. And in times of doubt, and I know a lot of people have been having doubt because, trust wavers. It really does. It does for me too. And we have to come back to trusting that things will work out as they should and to our advantage. And that doesn't mean that, death is not going to occur and sickness is not going to occur. It means that when we trust, there is a higher liberation for that. That disruption, when someone passes away, when we hear of sickness, it can either pull us back and make us more fearful, or go, I'm going to extract that sweetness and that essence of life, and with bravery and change, so that in that it brings in that feeling of, I need to have blind faith because I don't know how this is going to work out. I remember the first time I came to India, because my dad put the fear of God into me. This is years and years ago. I'd say, 10 years ago, longer than that. And I made myself sick here because everyone's like, don't do this and don't do that and don't do this. This time, and then I've been a couple of other times, and this time I came and I was like, I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to trust everything, where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, and just go with it. And so far, the experience has been really, really great. As we moved on, the soul progression card was wisdom. Spirit had told me that there would be miniature spiritual awakenings for all of us, and the synchronicities that have been showing up for me to show me what is important and true is showing up for you too. It's just that you might not be as attuned to looking at them and being so vibrating so high that you receive them. But this is why you're all on this journey with me, is because I've been put on this earth to teach you. Therefore, you found me because it's going to open you up even more, and I open up more to help you too, because Spirit's the one that's teaching me. I love that this wisdom card came up, because it's not just the word wisdom, but the vibration from the planets enabling us to access more parts of ourselves, seeing the truth. And we may be fixated that something has to be one way, but actually when we see the truth of it, things are not as bad as what you thought. Death is not as bad as what you thought. Sickness may not be as bad as what you thought. It's the suffering, because let's face it, our vessels are all going to expire at some point, and that's just the way it goes. But this is why we need to extract the full essence and the nectar and the honey of life. Whatever disruptions that is occurring for you, it could be internal disruptions. This is, so around the Golden Temple in Amritsar, my guide took me to an akshara, and akshara means fighting ring, like literally fighting ring. So it was a very humble temple. I couldn't take photos in there to show you all. I've taken as many photos as I could, which I'll slowly be posting where it's relevant for Soul 33. And there was kind of like a priest lying there doing his thing, and then different gods kind of around. And then the guy said, well, upstairs, because it was a very old ashram, and he said upstairs there are chains, and people chain themselves and lock themselves and the keys taken, and they stay there in meditation. He said sometimes weeks, months, even years. And it's like, he said sometimes you can hear like yelling, because people are stuck with their mind and having to ruminate, like how we all do. And then we have to get out of, like I said to you, when the first time I came to India, I made myself sick. It wasn't the water that made me sick. It wasn't the spices that made me sick. It wasn't anything. It was myself, because of the fear that everyone had put in me. Like, you have to be careful and you can't do this. And of course you do, but you also have to trust. And so the internal disruption could be that mind going, I need to break free from this. Where is the wisdom in this? And for me, it's been external disruption first that's caused an internal disruption, which has been really great for me, because I'll be integrating this trip for a long time, because there's many layers to this trip that, for me personally have been outstanding, is the word that's coming. Any disruptions are going to serve you, but you need to look at what it's showing you. And perhaps you've been spending time and energy where it doesn't serve you anymore, and you're now seeing the truth of where you need to be. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's where you need to be. So if you've been thinking about movement, it's the time now, is what Spirit's telling me. So for life to be sweet like honey, there is a medicine that's being given to us for wisdom, to put us back on our path. So this card came up to remind us that wisdom is surfacing, and we're meant to lean into the disruptions as they're happening for a reason. Then I posted my Golden Temple experience, and going to sacred sites where there are hundreds of thousands of people go through that temple every day, but millions of people go there. Probably, if they're seeing 100,000 to sometimes 500,000 a day, gosh, since 1581 the ground has been broken there. It's like feeling that energy and that vibration of all the devotees that come there for clarity, for peace, to be healed. That in itself is a disruption from all the things that we have going on in our lives, seeing the community work together beyond it being restricted to a certain ethnicity or a certain religion. Everyone could go, and that's why I put there, this temple is open to all people of any background, and you can feel the spiritual camaraderie as you walk around. And that sweetness and the immortal nectar of life is here for all of us. But I've just been so grateful to be here on this trip. Now, your extended meaning of the Monday mantra. Disruptions come in all forms. Some we like and some are challenges, but disruptions bring us back to what is important. They show us what we should be grateful for. The nectar of life's sweetness comes through the initiation of disruptions. We are being initiated. I know that is sometimes hard to see, but we are. It's the information that I've been getting. It's preparing us for more. Okay, remember, I'm always here for you. Whenever I'm travel, I'm still working. But you know that I'm only one person. I'm doing my very best to see as many of you as possible. We get a lot of emails. Kieran is still on top of it, but just, when it comes to wait times, there is a wait, but it will always be the right time when you do see me. And this is why I have all the various services and the app to keep you all supported at rates that are more accessible to everybody, and also at times that you need me. But if you're needing anything, a mini reading, soul magic, personalized meditation, or going on a wait list, whatever it is, let Kieran know at soul33@gmail.com. But the app is the place to be, because it's only $60 a year. I'm bearing the brunt of all the expensive, and it's expensive. Like that new the Soul Lab section, which we're working on, I mean, that in itself has been that was about a $6,500 upgrade to the app for now, until the technology changes and we have to keep going. So it's significant. When we change something that looks very minor to you, is huge on this end. And so while we're talking about that, the Soul Lab section, I put one quiz up there first. I did this for two reasons. I did this because I think it's really good to do these quizzes from time to time. I've only put one up there because we're testing the functionality and making sure the coding is all working, because it's quite a difficult thing to have all the different answers and propagating all of that and whatever. And as we work that out, which we are, because I got a message from IT saying some of you were experiencing a problem at the end that's going to be resolved early next week, because we needed to upgrade the coding there. I'll be adding more, and I'll be changing the questions out too, because as I change, I'll be going, okay, this is what they need to be questioned as well, and this will just help you get your own answers and figure things out. So look out for that section. I'll announce them what we upload, but for now there's only one, for the reason because we're just testing the functionality to make sure everything is working. Now remember, if you're having any IT issues, we're all in this together, right? And I've told you, an app is not like a website. This is like a body, which is like, sometimes it hurts and sometimes there's things that happen, and it just completely needs constant care. But any issues, don't suffer in silence and be frustrated. Email Kieran, because she's on to all the things that need immediate attention. soul33@gmail.com. And if you need to renew or become an app member, the link Kieran can give you, we do that. Otherwise, I'd be having to put the price up to about $25 a month to keep up with the charges from the app stores. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on to this week. Your Monday mantra this week is, I'm connecting with what is real and wanted. I'm connecting with what is real and wanted. I'm actually going to start by telling you what the third eye tarots were for this week. The first one was the Magician card, which I loved. And the second one is the Death card. Now, the Death card is transformation, so don't panic about that. I mean, sure, for some people it will be physical death, but physical death doesn't mean spiritual death, because that keeps continuing on. And if you're thinking about disruptions, and if we're thinking about coming back to what the true path is, there's nothing like something like that happening in life that shakes you up, that makes you want to live more, to extract the nectar and essence of life. So when we are coming back to this week's Monday mantra, all of us, because I come back to them too, going, okay, what do I need to know? I'm connecting with what is real and wanted. As part of our initiation, these disruptions are coming in, whether we've chosen them or whether they're just happening in life, and it could be a bit of both, a pleasure and a bit of pain, which is what's going on for us at the moment. It's coming back to connecting with what is real, which is love. You might be finding yourself movement in terms of saying the things that you need, but it's actually I'm going to change my position, sorry. Asking for what you need or what you want, because when we are in the grind, when we are in the mind, when we're in the grind and when we are in the mind, is what Spirit is telling me, we forget what love is. It's hard to remember when there are unexpected or sudden changes that come in, because that disruption energy is still around and it's coming in still. But in this week, for this week's energy, it's about I'm being initiated into something. Like, when you travel and you're a seasoned traveler, you have this kind of savviness about you to be able to deal with everything and go with it, and know that you can't wash your hair for a while, and that you're going to be wearing the same pants for about 4 days because you can't get to a laundromat, and all of those things. You learn a savviness, and that's an initiation because it prepares you for other times that you're going to need that savviness. So for me, that's part of it, amongst lots of other initiations that are going on for me. So what are you being initiated into? What is your initiation right now? And I'm actually feeling Goddess Isis coming in right now to help us with this initiation. And this is why I've given you that initiation energy, but I actually can feel her coming in. She's giving us all like some type of medal. And this medal has like the 5-pointed star on it, and so she's placing this like in our torso. Okay, so I'm giving that to you now. I have no idea what this means, but let's just go with it for now. So as this initiation is taking place, we are preparing for more life. We're preparing for more things that we want to come in. And when we don't face hard things, it makes it hard to do anything. It keeps us in this place of complacency. And what may seem to be hard actually isn't, because once we do something and know that we are brave. I remember my friend said to me, once she had her first baby, she's like, wow, once I pushed her out, I felt like I could do anything. It was a required bravery. And this initiation, like that's an initiation into parenthood. What is your initiation this week? That's what I want you to all think about. And this medal that has been placed into our torsos is going to give us some type of activation for this initiation. So facing hard things and really deciphering what is real. What is real? What is important? Where is your nectar and this honey coming from that is going to give you that devotion to all aspects and cycles of your life? And before I came on, because my head's all over the place being here, because I'm just surrounded, I'm not getting the silence that I normally get. Loss and gain creates an equilibrium. Loss and gains creates an equilibrium. So everything comes back into a balance. So you might find there's a loss, but there's a gain in that, which is all coming back to the lesson of the last couple of weeks anyway. So any sudden changes, unexpected, is giving us clarity, especially if we know what's coming underneath, what we're being asked to change. And if there's something that we didn't do anything about, because there's been an element of doubt, because we haven't done anything about it, because we're like, I don't know, what am I meant to be doing? There is going to be this sudden change in some way to give you that clarity. It might even feel like you're walking away from a thought, walking away from a pattern, walking away from a person, walking away from a behavior, perhaps a toxic situation, even taking a reprieve from social media. I mean, even I notice I just go on and post. Sometimes I'll scroll, but if I scroll too long, it does not make me feel good. So what are you leaving behind this week? And so what are you leaving behind, which is going to help you? Wow. If you're watching this on YouTube, a thumb just came up. So that's really interesting. Okay, there's going to be a message in that too. So coming back to connecting with what is real by leaving something behind. Trusting your direction. Know that if you are walking away, it's because it's coming from a place of love. Love for yourself, love for somebody else. And sometimes walking away doesn't mean we're walking away completely. It means that we're walking away from the old to come back to something new. Like I know when I've traveled and come home, I'm different. And that brings in, it's like I left behind the old Gaia and has bringing back the new one to my normal existence, which will resume soon. Trust in your direction. Any insecurity that's coming up is triggering you for this movement into this initiation with this medal that's been given to us. I feel like this medal is like a reward. I feel like this medal is like heat. There will be a reason to have a call to action. Okay, so I'm marketing background, I'm infomercial background also, so there's always a call to action to give an immediate response. That's what you're needing to go to this week to get an immediate response. This is not about ultimatums, I'm being told. This is to get an immediate response. What's the call to action to give that person or yourself the motivation to do something about it now? So there's an element of strategy to induce a performance. There's elevation energy this week. This is why the magician comes up, because we are supplied for. We've got untapped talents that we're needing to test our courage on and follow, so that we can actually move into our true path. You are loved. You are supported, and I wrote all of this a month ago. I'm just finessing it as I'm talking to you now. Therefore, be open-minded to know that what is fact and what is fake. So you need to decipher this week what's real and what's not real. I don't know why I used the word fake, so that might come up somehow in your life. Fake person, fake reality, because we want to only take what serves us into this next stage of life. So we're being initiated now. Be patient, because like I said, after I travel, there's going to be this integration, because things are going to be catching up to a line. The tests along the way are to see if we're really ready for what we asked for. If you're wanting to live more life and go on an adventure, are you prepared to do that? This week will require the patience with yourself and others, and with unexpected changes, we do require a transition time to receive the outcome. I'm really excited. So your homework exercises that I set, you want to stop doing your Amavasya moon one if it's Monday. Don't do that after Monday. Then you've got Isis energy. She's still standing to the left of me. Golden staircase, letting go with Archangel Raphael and Nandi between two worlds, because it is like that for all of us in this initiation. Okay, we're going to take a moment. I know it's quite loud here, but we can take a moment anytime, and just close your eyes where you can. If you're not driving, please. And I want you to connect in with the medal that Goddess Isis has placed into our torso. And you might even want to put your left hand on it to activate this right now. And what this is doing is connecting you with what is real. It's going to be like a magnet that's going to bring to you what is real and what is wanted. And that's going to be through the death and the transformation and whatever that means. And that can be a really good thing, but also to empower the magician in us. So Isis has activated that for us now, and we're going to take a moment to really feel that integration and know that these disruptions that are happening is all for our advantage. And remember, I always look at things from the positive, from the light angle. If you are experiencing the opposites of things, it's because there's something in your vibration that needs to change. Wishing you a wonderful week. I will be resuming Monday Mantras from home soon, but for now, thank you for being on this path with me. I'm so grateful to have you here, and if you need anything from Karen, from me, weightless, all of those things, Karen is the person to ask. soul33@gmail.com. Thank you for bearing through this longer Monday mantra from a different country.